This week in Writing with Robbie, we start the book The Third Act by Drew Yannow. And not only do we start it, we start the first half of this 17 movie list. And it turns out I've only seen one of them from beginning to end. And it's none of the movies in this video. It's all about the third act and why these movies could not have ended any other way, why these movies had to end the way they did. We don't get the ending that we necessarily want, but it was the ending that it was destined to have all along, according to this book. And when I read it, I'll know why. But for now, I get to watch, for the first time, movies like Rocky, Good Will Hunting, and finally find out if, how, why does that man get off the island in Castaway? And yes, seriously, do I live under a rock? Stay tuned. There are timestamps in the description and you can jump around however you like, but I did work hard on this video. There are some really cool transitions. Hopefully no movie studios will get mad at me for them, but it's for artistic and educational purposes, so I shan't be sued. And enjoy, for we may not be here tomorrow, and I mean this video. So I thought you might like to know, this movie, it's not a movie. This video is loaded with spoilers, so sorry. But you've seen all of these movies. I'm the only one who hasn't seen them, so enjoy it. Enjoy it. So I just finished Rocky, the first Rocky, for the first time ever. And I did not expect to like it that much. Like, it definitely, even when it got a little racist, I was like, it fits that character. Well done. I didn't expect, Adrian. I understand Adrian. Adrian! I understand her. And I knew I've heard so much about that movie. I've read about the movie, heard people talk about it, reference it. Didn't know justice, okay? So I think I just don't like stuff when people hype it up. So I'll just be like, it's probably not that good. But no, that was good. That was better than I thought. It really was. Obviously, there were a lot of things that I was like, no, this is not okay. But as far as how the story is written, how it's told, I really enjoyed. It was great. Every subplot, I really definitely thought, spoiler alert, that's not a spoiler because it didn't happen, but I really thought that Paulie was gonna kill him. I was like, he's gonna shoot him before this movie is over. But I never heard about that happening, so I probably should have known. But I like the romance. I like the pet story. I like the fact that he had knives stuck in his wall as a coat rack and hat rack. They used his real baby pictures. I really enjoyed Rocky, and dare I say it, I might find the sequel and watch that someday, but I feel like it might ruin it. So if you I don't remember how much people because I know if you think about the Godfather movies, which I've also never seen, I know that they did not, a lot of people don't necessarily like the later versions of The Godfather. They're probably going to do a remake, but, no, I'm joking. But I don't know how people feel about the later Rockies. I think they just like them all. And if Creed is any indication, I would see why, because I like that movie as well. And I know that, Stallone worked with him closely, with Michael B. Jordan closely. So, so yeah, Rocky 2 is probably good, but the fight scene is honestly my least favorite part because it was so stressful. I loved it, and then as it just was stressful. I'm like, spoiler alert. So he foreshadowed the breaking of the rib. You know what? Let's not even go that deep. But the point is, he broke his rib and he wanted to keep fighting. He could have died, which, now that I think about it, spoiler alert, huge spoiler alert for Rocky 2, I guess. I'm pretty sure I've heard somebody said something about dying in the ring. So I'm like, because I saw Creed, so I'm like, that's probably where I learned that. But anyway, point is, I thought Rocky was great. Like, I just keep pausing it and just being shocked that I like that movie that much. So I will watch this one again. Like, I have to put Rocky in my rewatch. Like, I thought I was going to delete it off my computer, but I'm going to have to find another way to make room, because I am definitely going to probably watch Rocky again. Okay, but now we have to watch Casablanca, right? Yeah, Casablanca, pretty sure. Alright, bye. Just finished watching Casablanca, and I, spoiler alert, did not see the bromance coming, so that was kind of cool. But also, I totally ship Victor, Ilsa, and Rick as a dope polycule. Obviously, this movie was kind of like not something that I would normally watch, but I thought it was alright. I'm glad I watched it, because I read about it, same as Rocky, and turns out I didn't read a book about it, but I read story, and it talked about Rocky, and it talked about Casablanca, and the third act by Drew Yannow talks about reading story by Robert McKee. So yeah, even though Robert McKee didn't suggest actually seeing these movies, he referenced them thoroughly. Drew Yannow was like, I'm not doing that. Go watch these movies. So here we are. And he's going to reference them. But yeah, so I didn't hate it. I really like the polycule, because Victor Laszlo is very much that's what compersion looks like. I'm sorry, you can hear my fan in the background, but that's what compersion looks like. He was like, look, I don't care what you did. I love you. You are my woman. I don't care about no Rick. And he was like, look, Rick, I know you like my girl. It was some very Boys to Men, end of the road, Michael's for with the deep voice. I knew about them other men, I just didn't care. It was very that, and I liked it. I enjoyed it. Sam, shout out to Sam. Hated the name, loved that he's a black. I knew he was gonna be black before I saw him. I didn't think there would be any black people in this movie. They were like, yeah, we'll give you one. And I heard him before I saw him. I knew. I was like, that's the black person right there. Anyway, so I think I'm going to try to squeeze in one more movie, but it's not even late, but this is past the time that I normally go to bed. So, let's see. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So anyway, yeah, maybe we'll do movie number 3. I'm not sure what that is, so looking forward to finding out. So I just looked, and movie number 3 is a movie I literally don't recall ever hearing of, and it is called Witness. Maybe I've heard of it. I just really don't think so. Sounds like it could be gripping. I hope there's black people. But maybe I don't with the title of this movie. I don't know. So yeah, I'm gonna go get access to that movie, and I'll see if I heard of it real soon, I guess. So, also, this is really homework right now, because I'm just realizing I don't know when's the last time I watched a movie, like a full-length feature. Might not have been that long ago, but I can't tell you what it was. I am very much I will binge a series before I stop to watch one movie. There's a lot of hours. This is like 16 something hours of movies, just on the first half of the book. This is so many hours. So I'm getting to number 3, I guess. We'll see if I finish it tonight. I can't wait to see what it is. Like, I've never heard of this. Let's check it out. Okay, so I just finished Witness, and it was from 1985. I just witnessed a great movie. Now, I noticed they had to do a lot of stuff off screen to keep from taking away from the main plot. You know, the end kind of romantic situation was predictable, but in a way that it makes sense that it happened that way. Anything else would have been cheap. But the first turning point of the movie, the first major turning point, I was like, oh my god, I did not see that coming, but also duh. But the way that they did it, I was like, now that's how you do that. Okay, I was tripping because they started the movie with a little kid and he kept walking too far away from his mom. I was like, I do not play that. So I was already stressed, thinking somebody was going to take him or that he was going to see something horrible. Spoiler alert, he saw something horrible. I'm not going to go into details, but I will say, didn't know Danny Glover was in this movie. Didn't know anybody was in this movie. Never heard of it. But Harrison Ford, Danny Glover, those are the only faces I recognize. Well, no, there was one guy in there who played the other officer. He looked familiar, but I don't know if I actually know him or if he just looks like an actor I've seen before. Anyway, so I got through 3 movies today, which is better than I thought, but less than I hoped. But I was just like, I don't want to start too early. Tomorrow, however, ideally, I would get through 5 more movies. 5 in one day. Ugh, I'm already tired. But I'm going to see how long Casablanca was, because I really thought I wasn't going to be able to sit through 3 today. But if I could do 3 today, I think I can do 5 tomorrow. And they were all great today. Rocky was amazing. Witness was really, really good. But I think it was more because they were like playing at the heartstrings, you know what I mean? Rocky, there was every reason for me to not like that movie, but I love a good story, and it was a good story. So tomorrow, Good Will Hunting, Castaway, Rain Man, Gladiator, and Saving Private Ryan. Now, ending on Saving Private Ryan, I'm like, look, because the list has been so good, okay, I'm gonna like try to trust, you know, because I mean, Casablanca is probably the one I was least looking forward to. Not, no offense, not because it's in black and white. I don't mind that. I Love Lucy's one of my favorite shows, but I just was like, usually if it's in black and white, it was not a good time for my people. I don't know if I want to watch that, but it wasn't really about that. So, it went alright, but as far as the next films, I'm like, is this a hair? Yes. I keep picking at my hair. I'm like slightly more excited to watch some of tomorrow's movies, not all of tomorrow's movies. Really looking forward to Castaway, because that's one that I don't know if I've said it in the intro, but I have seen big chunks of Castaway, but I have not seen all of Castaway. I have no idea how it ends, which has been annoying, honestly, in my whole life. I'm like, does he make it home? Does he get off the island? Do the FedEx packages ever get delivered? Yeah, I have seen big chunks of it. It's been years though, and I really would like to know how that ends. The point is how these movies end. The third act of these movies, not necessarily if they were good or bad, but do they end in, like, they're supposed to end in a way that even if it didn't give you the happily ever after, it gave you the ending that was destined to happen based on what was written, so to speak. So yeah, so with Witness, okay, now I'm about to give you some real spoilers. But Witness, the romantic arc ends, like, he basically was like, if we go any further, I'm gonna have to stay or you're gonna have to go, because she's Amish. And so obviously that romantic story would not have ended with either of those endings. It wasn't going to end with her taking her and her son away from her father and the only life she's ever known. And it wasn't going to end with this officer leaving the life that he knows, to play house with someone he barely knows, adopting their entire lifestyle, because it's not like they could just be together and he can stay. No, it's if he doesn't comply to their laws, they can't be together. So that one, it was just no realistic way to end their romantic affair, except for how they did, which is for him to just drive off. But they did kind of have, and that's another thing, this movie and Casablanca both had a character that I thought I was gonna have to hate somehow. Like, they write it to where they pit the two love interests against one another, but both of them surprised me and had them kind of like working together at different points. So that was like two huge pleasant surprises for me. I would not call this particular one and witness this particular love triangle, I would not call a polycule, because I feel like the two men would have been completely against each other if it wasn't for them having a common enemy at one point, but also if it weren't for the one guy leaving. If they were allowed to have violent ways about him, it would have been a scrap, though. I really do believe it, because dude was looking like he wanted that smoke. But anyway, so I ended up liking that guy, and in the end, as the main character, Harrison Ford's character, is driving off, you see him talk to the other love interest as he's on his way to see the woman who they've both been into. And she definitely likes both guys, but if she were choosing, she would choose the one, that can't stay. He's more exciting and more adventurous, but if she is staying in her lifestyle, then the guy that we assume she might end up with is a good fit for her in that way. But it's not like she can just court him. It's like if they court, they're courting to be married. So I don't know if he's that good. But I think that's why they were just like, the romance is not the main part of the story anyway. So let's just let that end with them having a little chit chat, as they pass each other, one coming to the woman and the other leaving the woman. So I thought that was cute, because it definitely showed that even though they both like the same woman, feelings ain't got to be that deep. It ain't got to be that hard. You know what I mean? Like, she didn't choose either one of y'all, so that's the real tea. But they just, like, you can be jealous without being enemies. It's more productive. Huge spoiler, like the whole point of the story, which some things you just don't really notice until the end. But I knew the gun was going to be a significant part, because obviously here you go, you have this kid who witnessed this horrible thing, and now he has to decide between, does he want to be the peaceful lifestyle, or does he want to be the Texas Justice kind of lifestyle, or the Yankee, as the Englishman was referred to. He was the guy with the gun, and how he chose to react in the situation kind of is supposed to determine that little boy's future. Is he going to be the kind of man who carries a gun, or is he going to be like the other people that he's grown up with? They've never witnessed what he witnessed at such a young age. But the man with the gun, who would have understood at the end of the day, didn't need a gun necessarily to solve the end of the day. So I spoiled this one. So let's just say if you had to skip this segment, you missed a lot of what I had to say, but try not to spoil too bad. But I definitely spoiled everything with Witness. So next is Good Will Hunting. We will start that on the morrow. I'm excited about that one, because I think it's another one. I've never seen Good Will Hunting. Like I said, I haven't seen a lot of these. I may have seen a clip or two from Good Will Hunting in the 90s, maybe. It would have been more than half my life ago. But I do know that the chalkboard scene is like a thing. I've seen that spoofed in other places. These movies have been spoofed left, right, and center. So, there's a couple more that I've literally never heard of. What is Road to Perdition? I don't even know. I need to Google that word. A lot of these are movies that, I mean, I was happy to never have seen. A couple I was curious, but I think I really want to finish this list. So that's 8 this week and 9 for next week. And I'm already one behind because I'm not staying up any later. So I need my brain back. It's too late for absorbing new information. So it's a little after 7 a.m. I have been up for almost 2 hours. I don't know. Glutton for punishment, perhaps. So I'm going to make do on my 4.5 hours of sleep. I might try to roll back over here, but since I've been up, I'm just hungry. So I'm going to get a little snack, have some pistachios and water, and maybe start Good Will Hunting. I took the dog out already. I don't know. Maybe I'll take a shower because I'm literally just sweats and a jacket so I could go outside in this bonnet so I can pull it over my eyes and sleep like a baby even while my subliminal's running. Make sure no bugs are crawling in my face. Sleep like a baby. Usually sleep like this. Joking. Okay, sorry. I'm so tired. Oh, my ears are always covered though, because paranoid, whatever. I know you saw that. What's that movie? Something About Mary that they don't know. I'm also on the spectrum, so I get it, dude. You know who else I really get? Adrian! That's my girl. Like, yeah. She wasn't dumb. She just don't want to talk to most of you fucking fucks. When you have a brother like that, I wouldn't talk either. But, and also, she didn't know that, what's his name, Rocky was a good guy. He was friends with her dillhole brother. So yeah, he had to come in the pet store and talk to her every day. And she didn't know what the frick to say. Did you see the muscles from Brussels? Just joking. It was a different, okay, you know. But yeah, his freaking arms are ridiculous. I wouldn't speak to him either. Like, no offense to big-armed men. I'm talking to you, honey bun. I need to stop talking. I'm just gonna shut up. But yeah, so I think I'm gonna at least start Good Will Hunting. I'm definitely gonna finish it today. I just don't know if I'm gonna stay up right now. I'm so tired. Okay. Okay, so I had so much going on in my head during this movie. I really enjoyed all of the, like, forget him solving the equations. It's him reading people, like, just being able to, like, I had to rewind the one when he asked the psych, like, how is it being in the closet, you know what I mean? And I was like, I was like 2 seconds ago, let me go back. And no, 2 seconds ago, he was ready to eat him up, and I almost missed it. That's probably too much. But also, I don't know if you've ever been black before, but it's kind of like I kept watching this movie from the beginning, like early in the movie, and being like empathetic for the main character, okay? Will is my boy. However, it was almost difficult from, like, I was so happy for him. I was rooting for him. I was like, he's getting opportunities that he should get. And it just kept coming with this energy of like, but I wish everybody could have opportunities like that, because the basketball scene where there was a fight, right? I just was like, if he were black, that might have unfolded differently once the police showed up. And then there was when the professor came to, speak on his behalf to see if he could get out of jail, if under his wing and doing psychology, they did that off screen. which implies that it was a pretty uneventful ordeal. But if he were a person of color, in order for that to even be possible, like, you know what I mean? Like, it would have been an ordeal that was likely shown on screen, because it either A, would not have happened if he made it that far, or B, that professor would have had to fight a lot harder. Therein lies the white savior, or the white savior in movies. The professor still was very early on being a white savior for Will. It would be missed, though, because he didn't have to work that hard, and they're both white. That off-screen moment of even getting someone to agree to let him out of jail for tutelage and therapy, that's a very white thing to happen. And a person of color to be afforded that same opportunity, especially without, you know what I mean? Like, a person of color to be afforded that same opportunity, it would have been climactic enough to be shown on screen. They would not have cut that scene out. You see what I'm saying? What I'm trying to say is that I was so happy for Will, and then I would keep feeling the guilt of, but if this character were black, this movie would be entirely different. So there's just another one of those things that was in my head. Of course, we could unravel that, but I think that would be more of a series of videos than... Okay, but back to the movie specifically. The romance. I was like, I know this actress. I should look her up. But as you can see, I'm still not even doing anything today. But so I was like, I know this actress, and I don't know why. I can't think of why I know her, but I'm sure I'll remember later. And other than that, I was like, I think she has an accent, so that's how I knew I'd seen her before. I don't know where, but I was just like, yeah, so these are just, boy meets girl. Let's see what the hook is. And I liked that she was funny. I loved that. They were both funny. They were kind of charming in a way. I liked that she got so comfortable while she was eating with him that he knew he could start making, inappropriate jokes even, and that she would laugh. She had a really good sense of humor. I like that part, because she was also pretty, smart, talented, you know what I mean? She was the whole package, and she loved him, and that's good. That's beautiful. Yeah, when she met his friends, like, that whole scene was just uncomfortable for me. I thought surely she's gonna be like she was faking about liking them. All I can say is that they wrote the perfect woman for him, so that's dope. Oof, but then it was just like so, it broke my heart. Like, it was gut-wrenching to watch that. I had my feels, and then when it went off, I had my feels again. I just watched the rolling credits because he was driving on the road. I was like, maybe we'll get a something after. But I like that they ended on a hopeful note, because if they did continue that, and I'm sure I don't know if they'll talk about this in the third act, so that's something I'm wondering now if they mention in the third act, because obviously they're going to talk about why we didn't get the two lovers together in the end, but namely it's probably because it's not about that. We'll get into what it's about, but I wasn't left wanting more, but I was hoping for more. You know what I mean? It was just like they wrapped everything up. They showed us how he was going to get to the girl. They showed us why he messed it up, by wrapping up the psych scene and the friends for the first. You know what I mean? So they fulfilled everything. They showed that how bad she loved him. Obviously, if she's only been gone like a little over a week or 2 weeks, she's not going to be dating someone else, you know what I mean? So there's room for them to talk about their feelings, whether that goes good or bad. But if the movie were about the romance, it would have gone another half hour, full hour, 2 hours, you know what I mean? And then he probably would have had to have a flat tire on the way, but they said the engine's good. Once I heard him say the engine's good, and I saw him driving that car during the credits, I was like, the engine's good, he's gonna make it to her. The writing was very much trying to make sure that you knew there was no more work to be done on mending the romantic aspect of this movie, of his life, except for him to go do it. And he wrote it. You know, I'm not going to say anymore because I don't want to spoil the fine details of the movie. So it wasn't about the romance, is the point. It was about him making sure he didn't waste his life living someone else's dream or not having a dream at all. He was so, sorry. He was so afraid to love and miss out. Like, it was literally about not having the regrets. And obviously, that hit so hard for me that as it was hitting for me emotionally, the universe sent a car to honk outside of my window. I don't know if you heard that. I'm saying honk, but my nose is filling up with tears. Okay. Obviously, for all my things that I did not prefer about the movie, whatever, though, like, it's personal. So it was a good movie. There are other like nuances that I didn't like, but there's so much that I do like about it, and most of what I don't like is just, I think every movie needs a black person to filter it out, you know what I mean? Not even like, because nothing had to change. It's just about like, there's an aspect of social awareness missing. Like, even the first psychologist that he had, I was just like, oh, this conversation that they're having, this is what it is like to, I don't know if you ever known that, you know, SOL testing, standardized testing in general, has like a racial bias that people miss. They don't know because they've only ever been the race that is socially accepted on a wider scale, according to their societal makeup. You know what I mean? My point being that I don't think the therapist would have spoken to Will in the same vernacular if he were a black character from the same upbringing. Now let's get back to the video. If we were all inclusive, this movie would have been more enjoyable. All movies would be more enjoyable if the world were more equitable. Like, in order for you to understand why just that psychiatrist being his normal self, or not if you've seen the movie, but you know, he's projecting a certain outward appearance that he thinks is socially acceptable. So I guess therein lies their subtle way of saying, I wonder if the creator of the movie got it. I need to finish a point so you can understand what I'm saying. Sorry. Okay. So what I mean is, just without spoiling the movie, I think I already said it, so I might as well say it again. So I'm gonna keep saying spoiler alert. Okay, so the therapist is presenting in the movie as a cishet white male, waspy type, older, you know what I mean? And just, he's supposed to be the opposite, you know what I mean, of the kid that he's treating, who is cishet white male, but he's younger, and he is waspy type, but you know, not what, I don't know. Yes, but minus the fat stacks of cash. And being that they're both, they probably consider themselves opposites and not being cut from the same cloth because of the separation, the false separation of financial division. But he's been afforded the same opportunities that money couldn't buy him by being white, and I want to say and intelligent, but that's the thing, is if he were a black character, same intelligence, same exact scenario, he might have died with the cops. He might have not been given the chance to even be smart. Because you heard the judge, this was with the waspy man, like just the young white male. He said to him, I'd give you another slap on the wrist, but you hit a cop. And that's another thing. If he were black with those charges, I'm not sure if they were all felonious. They might have been misdemeanors. But if they were felonies, at that time, I'm pretty sure the 3 strikes rule that came out of the Clinton administration was still in effect. Don't quote me on that now. I didn't go research nothing. These are just my thoughts while I'm watching the movie as a black woman in America. So I'm a free black person. And yet, you see what I mean? Like, if he were black, it wouldn't have gotten to, but you hit a cop. They had to say all of that in order for him to go to jail in this country. You know what I mean? So I guess the writer did know and very subtly addressed that in order for you to believe that this young man isn't getting slapped on the wrist, he has to hit a cop, and the judge can't play that about hitting cops. You know what I mean? If he were black, he probably would have been a victim of the 3 strikes rule, where if you have 3 felonies, by your 3rd felony, you don't get another chance. You are now in prison for the rest of your life, was the rule, I believe, at that time. But even the judge mentioned about his rap sheet and how many times he's gotten off of charges. And he had, the writer put in, that he had to have hit a cop in order for this judge to not ignore his activities again. So I'm not saying that the judge should have ignored it. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that he shouldn't have, he should have had a chance. That's the thing. He should have had a chance. But he's been allotted extra chances for being white. Because he's white, there has to be a reason why he isn't given a chance again. But if he were black, they would not have had to convince the audience that he had a long rap sheet. That they would not have had to say, but you hit a cop. You know what I mean? Because, a black person, first of all, probably wouldn't hit a cop unless they, understand that in doing so, they might die. You know what I mean? So it's just hard not to watch this movie and be taken out just from living, just from living. I can't even say in this country, just from living as a black person. So in a way, I started this being like, am I even relatable as a human being in this world, or at least in this country? Because I haven't seen so many movies on this list. Sorry. I'm super emotional today. When I take a shower, I will be a lot better. So we're going to do that after this. But I haven't seen these movies. This is not necessarily why, but clearly representation matters, and I'm not seen. My people aren't being seen in these movies, and even the subtleties of acknowledging white privilege is so minute that even I almost missed it. So I know someone who is not a black person or a person of color or has ever experienced anything relating to racial discrimination from a country in which they're even viewed as a word minority. Like, are you kidding me? Minority? Like, come on. They're not even trying to hide it. So I don't want it to be swept under the rug. Obviously, that wasn't the point of the movie, but I just think it needs to be addressed, that these things exist, because a lot of people, white people, will likely watch this type of movie and be like, not notice it. And then people of color might watch this movie and feel unseen, or might say, I wouldn't watch that movie because I'm not seen. You know what I mean? So here I am enjoying the movie as best I can. I would like more black movies, but I also, obviously I don't even really watch movies, but when I do, a lot of stuff I do is geared toward people who represent me, and So it's just, I just needed to call it to the attention, because maybe a white person will watch this, and we don't need your pity, we don't need your apologies, just awareness, understanding, overstanding, if you will, that it is a thing. White privilege is a thing. And the movie Good Will Hunting is proof. A lot of these movies are proof, but but specifically Good Will Hunting is proof of white privilege. If you buy that movie as something that could happen, I'm just saying there are other moments in this movie that I can say could have been a lot different if he were black. So, something to think about. Food for thought, if you will. Somebody remake Good Will Hunting with a black character. Try to do it without all the things I even said. But keep in him hitting the cop. Keep in all that, okay? We're in a different political climate now, even. I'm going to let you marinate on what that means to you. But these are different times. These are more sensitive times. Perhaps more empathetic is what you'd like to believe. If you're a writer, which maybe you are if you're here, especially if you're watching this video, honey, go ahead and just ponder that. If you don't believe me, feel free to comment. I don't care. I might delete it. I don't care. But I'd rather keep an open dialogue. So if you're respectful, I mean, microaggressions exist, but I'm not, we can handle it. We can talk about these difficult things just like they did in Good Will Hunting. I think we can handle this discussion. If you'd like to join in, not to change anybody's minds, because we're not here to do that. We're here to open minds and exchange information. If we're trying to change people's minds, we're only going to further entrench them in their beliefs. So I just ask you to ponder it yourself as a writer, as an artist, as a creative type, as an enjoyer of movies. Do you think that it could go different, the exact same way? Do you think it could go the same way? More than once, when people are finally comfortable with themselves enough to admit it, that they've learned some things that maybe they need to unlearn and reparent to reteach themselves what is authentic to who they want to be in this world and the legacy they want to leave behind. So I just say keep an open mind, because we are very similar and we all share this planet, no matter what you believe, whether you're an atheist, a monotheist, a polytheist, or just trying to figure it out. We all believe that we come from at least a similar place, a similar first conception. Most of us believe we came from the same place. If you're a scientist, you believe we came from the same star stuff. You know what I mean? Or even if we didn't come from stuff on this side of the galaxy and came from stuff on that side of the galaxy, you wouldn't use that as a way to divide yourself. Obviously, I really like this movie. Sorry. I'm gonna go take a shower and come back a changed person. Sorry. Sorry about the intermission. Feeling better, smelling fantastic. I am about to watch Castaway, and that is a movie that I have. Oh, yeah. So when I finished Good Will Hunting, I realized I did see that one scene when they were leaning up against the car at the construction site, talking about why he should definitely not waste his life. But that was the only scene I had ever seen, and I didn't realize. So I don't know if that was on. I don't know. Not even gonna worry about it. But my next movie is Castaway. I have seen a good chunk of Castaway. I've just never seen it from beginning to end. So I need to know how that ends. And so I'm going to go ahead and start that next. Wilson! So Castaway, apparently I saw most of the middle. is what I'm thinking. I can remember, look here. I think I saw most of the middle of Castaway before. But like I said, I never saw the beginning and I never saw the end. And I'm so glad I finally seen it all, because I just, in my mind, he's always been in that on that island. And excuse me, that's not a good way to be, honey. So just stressful stuff. Like the moment with the ice skate when he was using one for a mirror and one for dental work, and excuse me, that was really stressful to watch. So I remember just being like, I wish I knew the backstory, and cutting it off because it was hard to watch. But with the backstory, it's a lot better. When I saw the opening, I was like, I have a feeling we're either going to see both of these people again. I just thought we were going to see the mailman again. She kept saying his name, said his name more time than we said her name. But those people from the beginning, I was like, I think we're going to see them again, but only very briefly. So that's likely going to be at the very end. And as long as that movie was, I still forgot by the time the end of the movie came. So when the obvious down ending aspect that we foresaw and watched unfold, to me, I was like really devastated about it. I hate when that kind of stuff doesn't work out, but I have a feeling that all the movies on the list are going to be like this. But also I'm realizing just that if polyamory were more popular in this country at the time of all of these movies would not have a love triangle arc. And if they do, it would have to be really creative. So writers, do your stuff. Let's see what the next movie is. Rain Man. So we're going to watch Rain Man next. And then hopefully there's only one more, Jesus, because I don't know if I'm making it. Girl, there are 3 movies left. 3 movies left. I don't know how we're going to do this because these are long. Like, the day is gone, baby. But we got Rain Man, Gladiator, and Saving Private Ryan. I might be Saving Private Ryan for another day. But Rain Man and Gladiator, I'm going to try to do that tonight. Do I want to end on Gladiator, though? Like, I feel like it's going to be really good. I've seen part of that, but again, it was just a really visceral scene, if I may. And I don't remember anything surrounding that. I think I wasn't even allowed to watch it at the time that it came out. Is that the movie that I don't know. So we'll see if I've seen any of Gladiator. I do think I've seen one, again, gruesome part with no backstory and probably no interest at the time when I was a kid. That I don't know, that wasn't my kind of movie. I like comedies myself, you know, the Jim Carrey of it all. But yeah, Rain Man is next. I know that I've seen at least 2 scenes of that. I remember a Vegas scene, and I think I'm just remembering the cover, which is them walking on a road, right? I had to have seen more than that, but I know I didn't see the whole thing. I know I didn't see the beginning nor the end. So let's go ahead and see how that one goes. Probably another ironically ended movie, because that's the theme, and I think it's because it's all about the climax, and they are unusual climaxes. I've only read the introduction, but they are all unusual third acts, I think. But I think the point is he was trying to make is some movies cannot give us the sweet happily ever after that we think we desire. They can give us something like that, but it has to be very creative. And I will say that each movie has done that. In Rocky, it was talked about in Story by Robert McKee, and it was talking about how that romantic arc was put in the story to keep your interest. That's the subplot, obviously, until the enticing incident has enough time to set up an inciting incident. It needs enough time to build before you actually get the reveal of what that is. So they give you the subplot, which is the romantic arc. And so that had the sweetest, I'll say, romantic ending of all of them thus far, because they have to give you the feelings you desire, but the reason they can't give it to you the way, like, they shouldn't give it to you in the way that you expect, but these movies particularly cannot, was Drew Yannow's point, and I'm only in the introduction. Earlier I wanted to talk about in Castaway the evolution of man sort of thing that they did with him. First, the progression of how much better he got, how fast it was, obviously, because he's from the future, okay, hold on. The part where he created fire for the first time successfully and how excited he was. But it took so many trials for him to get there that it was like, no, he really felt it that deeply, as if he had created fire, as if he were the first to ever do it. It was that deep for him. But I still want to watch 2 more movies. See you for the next one. We are at the end of Rain Man. I just watched the rolling credits. I'm a big old softie today. I did not get enough sleep, so my eyes has been tearing up all day. I just wanted to say Rain Man was really dope. From beginning to end. I almost found Charlie Babbitt's character hard to believe at first, because I've never met anybody who had the audacity to expect so much from other people, and such get-rich-quick schemes. But Raymond was definitely a favorite. He was believable and even relatable to me as a neurodivergent. Now back to the video. Obviously the part I saw was like near the end of the movie, and then when it ended, I was just like, oh, it's over. But then, at the same time, my brain was like, yeah, no, that makes sense. It took a second, but when I thought about it, I was like, well, yeah, no, that's exactly what we expect that to have ended like. Although, obviously there were some things you wonder if, but there was nothing left. I mean, there was a lot left open ending, but, everything was arced. Everything was climaxed and resolved. You just you're left with some will they, won't they type questions, but that's really not that deep in the grand scheme of the story. You get all the emotions satisfied. Yeah, so they did the thing, is what I'm saying. Also, I really liked the opening. They played Iko Iko by Cyndi Lauper, and a lot of these movies had great music, but that's the one that had me I literally got up and danced. I don't know why. That song is probably racial appropriation, not sure. It could just be about camp, which is usually they do appropriate the grounds, but that's everything everywhere. So I don't know the level of that, but feel free to rant about it in the comments. But my point is, I got up, and it was during my stretches anyway, because obviously I've been stretching during these movies so I don't get a potato butt. But yeah, your flag boy said to my flag boy, I'm gonna set your camp on fire. Talking about hey now, hey now, hey now, I. Anyway, sorry. Okay, sorry. Alright, I don't know. But anyway, so super tired. Normally I'd probably go to bed by now, especially with having all these feels. Usually feels put gap whistle. Anyway, so normally feels make me want to go to bed early, and then I usually get up early. Last night I stayed up late watching movies. Yes I did. And then I got up because of feels again. Because when you first wake up and all those thoughts that you're processing while you're asleep, but now you're awake and you're doing your automatic negative thoughts, which Jim Quick would say you have to cancel automatic negative thoughts. Cancel, squash those ants, step on those ants. Crushing automatic negative thoughts. So I'm going to work on that when I get up. And the next movie, I'm going to try it. I think the next movie is Gladiator. So I'm Gladiator too. Yes, sir. Okay. No, I need to go to sleep. This is crazy. Okay. Okay, no. Yeah, so I'm gonna watch Gladiator. I'm sorry. I haven't seen this movie except for that one part, which is making me feel like laughter is ironic right now. But my sense of humor is also kind of, you heard it. You heard it. And if you didn't, don't rewind it, especially if there are kids around. Yeah, dislike, unsubscribe, as my girl Cindy would say from Reading with Cindy. I am going to go watch that, and I will see you later. Sorry, good night. Okay, so I fell asleep. No, we got like 20-30 minutes in, right? And I was like paying attention, but I kept having to go back because I was just thinking a lot. And I was like, I'm thinking a lot, I'm tired, I already did my nighttime routine. It's apparently time to go to bed. Okay, so I went night-night. And now I don't want to get off track with the reading because that's really the bread and butter here. Writing is the, I would say meat and potatoes, let me say. It is the avocado of the guacamole, if you will. So since the writing is so important, and the reading is our support, or if you read 7 Habits for Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey, then I am increasing my capacity to produce. I'm going to the library, one that's not close to home, but it's my favorite library. I do want to finish the movies before the post of this video, though. That's the goal. So it's not the main goal, but that is the one that's keeping me, like, you know how you want to overextend yourself just a little bit so you get a little bit stronger, you know what I mean? So that's my last rep, and in doing that, I want to push harder, and so I make that the thing that I want to get done this week, but it's not the most important, so I'm not going to put my other stuff aside to do it. It's just, I know how I am on the weekends. I have a harder time feeling free enough to do my art, but oh, my art, darling. Okay. I'm more productive Monday through Friday when it comes to my work, and I still have to edit this video and get it posted. So yeah, we'll see how this goes. All right. I just finished Gladiator, and I guess I should have been more specific that the only scene that I had ever watched before was the Colosseum, one of the early Colosseum scenes that featured the contenders on chariots. I had seen that. It was probably new to TV at the time. I think I saw that scene and then got sent up to my room shortly after that. So, doesn't matter. Point is, that movie, like all the others, had kind of this, spoiler alert, had this ironic ending of positives and negatives. But what Drew Yannow says very early, it's in the first chapter on page 3. He says one part is connected to all the others, and then he goes on to say the first act and the third act are, or should be, forever joined. So this is going off of a 3-act structure, a line, a statement that he said in the very beginning of the movie when they were preparing for battle. It let you know kind of how the story, the only way the story could have ended for the protagonist in Gladiator. So like I said, I went to the library today. I didn't get very far in the book, but that's because, you know, I'm reading and then it's triggering thoughts about the story that I'm writing, which is a whole point. And that's why I think, even though this book is smaller than the next book that I have, I think this is the book that could make me just decide to push that book off another month, because I really want to make sure I contemplate my story through the ideas in this book. I did get an hour and a half of work done, but I only read about 10 pages of the book because it triggered so many ideas that I just ended up going on a writing spree about my story in the world that I'm working in. But I read the Act 1 structure, and I noticed that as I'm approaching the next section, which is the Act 2 structure, he goes into talking about the movies that I've been watching, and he immediately talks about the first 8 films, which I'll be finished with tomorrow. I'm not going to do another one tonight. So I'm saving Private Ryan for tomorrow. But yeah. So that's one of the reasons, like I said, I was really hungry and I just kept stopping, like, do I want to go home? Do I want to stay? Do I want to do another section? And then I started to read the Act 2 section, and I was like, oh, they're spoiling Gladiator, which I have to watch today anyway, so I'm just going to go get something to eat and go home and watch Gladiator. So that's basically what I did. But before I watched Gladiator, I watched Ghosted on Hulu, which I only just started last week and I already finished it. I really hope it gets another season. But that's just a side note. There's a good chance that I'll just get ready for bed now since I'm in it and my movie's over. So next week, though, I have 9 movies instead of 8, and I have actually seen one of these. So the only one on the entire list that I've actually seen is the first movie for next weekend, and I think I'm going to start on Friday and do Friday, Saturday, Sunday because I have plans on Saturday evening, but I'm running out of room, so I have to call it a night and edit these down before I watch Saving Private Ryan tomorrow. So peace. All in all, Gladiator was both traumatic and filled with upsetting atrocities, but after sleeping on it, it was the one that probably stuck with me the most in positive ways as far as story arcs went, and just I like how everything developed and wrapped up. So here's a gross pic of my delicious avocado toast. Enjoy the rest of this video. So it is Tuesday night. I'm on the last movie of what should have been this week or this past weekend. I have some more movies to do this weekend. And I was not excited, but after editing and realizing that I like just about every movie far more than I thought I would, I am hopeful for Saving Private Ryan. So let's just go ahead and start it. Not that that wasn't a great movie, but I would have been grateful to never have seen it. I laughed though because in the opening, I was like, I'd rather be watching Forrest Gump, and then Tom Hanks shows up. So I was like, okay, I see what y'all doing. Trying to get that old thing back, get that nostalgia move. It was like, Paramount got a movie with Tom Hanks. I want one too. But anyway, but yeah, Forrest Gump and Major Payne, those are my idea of military movies that I can handle. But this was rough. It definitely was rough. But as far as writing goes, it definitely wasn't. They did a great job with the writing. I don't understand why this is a part of the third act, because it kind of ended exactly how I expected, with the only major difference being that I didn't realize, so spoiler alert, I didn't realize that the old man that we opened with, it didn't dawn on me that that was Private Ryan. So I thought that part was cool. But it appears that they measured his accomplishments beyond that point. They chalked it up to, like, he has a family, so he has accomplished, I guess, or just kind of letting you know beyond that they weren't going to let us know if he was accomplished or not. So if family, I guess, is your idea of an accomplishment of him being great, then he succeeded. If not, then we'll never know, kind of idea. But yeah, so everybody who had a famous face. Yeah, so we got Tom Hanks again in this movie list, and we also got Matt Damon again in this movie list. And I will say that I liked the like each character, how they were written. Especially I thought it was very, oh my gosh, okay, which reminds me. So I liked that they had the sniper character whose name I can't remember right now, but he was a blonde sniper for the American side, and he also was very Christian, and he would quote Bible verses as he would pick off individuals with his gun as he would shoot people. And he had a pretty sure shot. And that to me was very much like authentic American soldier vibes. Like if you're going to put them into a caricature of American soldiers, it would be very like you're Christian, but you also like tote a gun. You know what I mean? So, but they did it in a way where his character wasn't campy, but almost an ode to that. I like that. But I like how they definitely took moments to show you that both sides of the war, it wasn't like good guys versus bad guys. It was humans versus humans. Also, when they had the planes come, the tank buster planes come and blow up the tanks, I was like, how do these guys, when they drop their bombs, how do they know that they're not also, hitting people on their own side? That's where that term friendly fire comes from. But they were kind of like, that was kind of like the heroic wrap up, the Deus Ex Machina or whatever. But it's like they could have easily killed everybody on accident. The people who did that, who they didn't want to kill. A lot of interesting characters and character developments, though. I don't want to spoil that best one that kind of goes along with the German soldier who surrendered. I don't want to go too far into that one, but I liked how that played into the arc of certain characters, like what's my dude's name? Upham. I was like, I just read his name so many times. Upham, Upham. But I hate saying that. I rather just write it. But what was I gonna say? I don't know. I can't remember what I was gonna say, and I'm sorry, but I will say though that I'm just like, obviously support the troops because support humankind, but nobody deserves to have to die, and nobody deserves to have to be a killer either. How did I like this movie though? I would have never watched it. It was good writing, but it's not for me. Because I'm always like, well, where's the propaganda? Because the thing is, military movies, they get their accuracy from being helped by the military, which means they can also alter the writing and blah blah blah. And I'm just like, it's Disney and it's military, and it's just a recipe for not my kind of movie. So yeah, it was one of the ones that I was least looking forward to. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. The reason that I liked it in one way, the biggest thing I liked about it is Robert McKee talked about this, which is going to be no coincidence since these authors are in cahoots. But Robert McKee was mentioning in story how there's a way to address politics of your day by writing historical fiction, and finding their common denominators between, the oppressor that you're trying to write about and the oppressors of the past who are safe to write about. They say artists are, the pen is mightier than the sword, so to speak, type thing. We won't get into specifics, but just if you have a critique of your modern day society and you fear for your safety by speaking out on it, you can do so by looking for a similarity in history, because ain't nothing new under the sun. So you find the similarity in history and you write your story on that, and you parallel And you get your point across by paralleling the past with the present, and you don't even have to address it. It's just that the viewer is going to, or the viewer or the reader is going to draw that conclusion consciously or subconsciously, which is more impactful if they don't even consciously realize it. I will say with Saving Private Ryan, I continue to forget that this was the World War II. I kept thinking it was a present day war. You know what I mean? So it's really, again, it's showing you not much has changed, but also they did a good job of kind of pointing a finger to the present by displaying our past type energy. Which reminds me, the two films that I least wanted to watch on this half of the list were Saving Private Ryan and Casablanca, which are both stories based off World War II and its events. Or excuse me, Casablanca was right before World War II, I believe. It was 1941, and that war ended in 1945. But when did it begin? I don't recall. This is not like a history lesson, but the point is, it's obviously not a coincidence that I didn't want to watch the movies based on war, but I do wonder, was it coincidence that they're both on the list? Now I'm like, when was the third act written? Because perhaps he's trying to give us a message with the list of movies. Maybe, maybe not. More on that as I read the book and as I get into the second half of the movies, which I was thinking of doing for this coming weekend. I still kind of want to do that, but I didn't get very far in the reading, so we'll see how that goes. But this video has gotten really long. That was the last movie for the week. Hopefully I'll record you an intro for this video, but otherwise I am going to get some rest. Tomorrow I have a day outside of all of this to accomplish, and then perhaps we'll come home to do some editing. And this has become so long, I'm not sure yet how long it's going to take to put it all together and upload it, but we'll figure it out. We'll make it here sometime. And then we have next week's list, which is full of movies that I've never heard of, never seen. I've seen one movie on that list, which is the difference from this week. I've seen one movie on that list from beginning to end, and that is something you'll have to find out next week, because it is the first movie on the list. So I don't want to spoil the first movie on the list. But I do want to thank you for watching this video. If you made it all the way through, bless your heart. And please leave me a comment to let me know that you made it this far, because, I mean, ride or die or what? Like, you are my captain. I already forgot his name from this movie. But you did that. You did that. Okay? We did that. Thank you for watching this video. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Definitely let me know why you stuck around this long. Like, were you cleaning the house and I was just keeping you company? Are you watching these with me? If you are watching this list with me, oh my gosh, please leave me a comment so I can know all about your experiences as well. Okay. Hey, it is like 1 a.m. Yes, 1:10 a.m. Almost 1:11 a.m., which is the time that it was when I started filming for my first video for the channel as it is today. So I'm taking that as a sign, and I'm going to say have sweet dreams, have a pleasant day, have a beautiful life, and hopefully I will see you next week. Hit the notification bell so you get notified about that, and peace. 10:30 in the night, and I'm trying new things. You know what? Just don't even, just act like I didn't say that.